Hey guys, it's Joshua Reviews. Okay, so I had a few options for what I could review this month for Christmas month. And obviously because I chose snow movies, I had a few choices. One of them was going to be a movie that just came out called Red Snow, but unfortunately I couldn't find that anywhere on demand, so I'm not going to review it this year. I'm probably going to review next year, so no. When I was watching YouTube videos about people talking about Dollar Tree movies, someone had found a movie called Scarce. And no, not the YouTuber. You know, that, hey guys, it's Scarce here, YouTuber. This is... This is... This is, On a snowboarding weekend, 3 friends take shelter from a sudden winter storm in an isolated cabin. But while waiting out in the weather, they are stalked one by one by the demented owners of the cabin, madmen who specialize in curing meat. And there is more than venison on the menu. Oh yeah, venison. As they fight not only the cold, but their very lives. This is a torture movie. No one has talked about this film since 2010. I believe there was a review that came out in like 2011, but no one has like actually talked about this film since 2010. And when I saw that this guy had gone at the Dollar Tree, I was like, I gotta review it. However, I did not find it at any Dollar Tree that I went to, so I got it off eBay for $8. I knew once I read this, brutal, raw, and full of all the redneck cannibalism one can handle. That review is posted by the director of Saw 2, 3, and 4. I knew we were going to be in for some trouble, but man. Okay, so as a Christian, I gotta state the elephant in the room. I love horror movies, but man, oh man, the more I watch, I just don't get fond of torture movies. So when I was gonna review this, I was like, how am I gonna approach this? Well, here's what I gotta say. This movie, overall, for the budget they had, I think the budget was like $100,000. I could be wrong on that. They managed to pull off a lot with the budget they had. There is a lot of stuff that they managed to pull off. Mainly, this movie is about torture. It's about cannibalism, right? So you gotta sell with the blood and the gruesome effects. So how did they do it? Well, they made it gruesome, all right. There's some pretty dark stuff in this film. There's a scene where a guy gets his tooth pulled out and guy's toenail gets removed and this guy's spine is showing, and there's a lot of cannibalism, man. There's a lot of close-up shots of people eating flesh, and it makes me sick. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I liked was the fact that the characters, for the most part, were likable. We don't get to, they don't get to do much in the middle third act because they're bound and tied and they don't really talk a lot. They talk a lot in the beginning, but not towards the end. So, but for the most part, we like them enough. We want to see them make it out of this. And these guys, these cannibals, do a really good job at selling. They drive home the point of them being sadistic. One of the things I liked about this film was the fact that because it was low budget, it reminded me of Texas Chainsaw, where it's like the movie has this grainy look to it, but it helps the film make it look creepy and authentic to the 70s. It's like, I have a very old collector's edition DVD of Texas Chainsaw, and my God, the quality's ass, but it actually makes the film better. The 4K is great for high definition and quality, but my God, it's like, I don't know, it just kind of, it doesn't make me feel like I'm with the characters. The fact that it has that graininess filter, or, this factor to it, this old filter to it, it makes it more believable. And this movie had that. There were some scenes where I was just like, I feel sucked into this movie. I feel like I'm with the characters. Because there's a lot of scenes where there's a lot of stuff in this movie that makes you go that way. Or make you feel that sort of emotion that you don't normally feel when you're watching an action movie, that's for sure. Or a horror film, so. Let's just say you don't feel this emotion very often when you're watching movies, unless you intentionally look for a movie like this, in which case you will be disturbed. I can say that first and foremost. I don't know why, but dedication to the actors for going barefoot in the snow, that's something I'd never do. Fuck that. And I'm just gonna say it, like I said, the fact that this movie is very graphic, it's like you gotta sell it. Does the blood effects look good? Does the acting sell? Yeah, the acting's decent. There are times where it seems like they're not giving it their all, but it's decent, especially for this low budget movie. And you know what? The practical effects were really well done. They were really well done. It looked realistic for the most part. There was maybe one scene where I was like, okay, you can tell that's kind of fake, but the majority of it looked really good. This film also made me feel very isolated in the area they were in, and that also drives home the point where, it made me feel like I was sucked into the movie with these characters. It made me feel like I was with them. I gotta talk about some problems I have with this film, though. If you're not a big fan of torture porn or movies that deal with this kind of stuff, you're not gonna like this film. Just skip this review or movie. You're not gonna like it. But for people who can handle that kind of stuff, people like me who are Christians and probably shouldn't be watching torture movies like this. Oh, God, forgive me. I will say this. It's a very squeamish movie. But sometimes it can feel a little bit like, they're just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it. Not necessarily to, make the plot go further. It's like, hey, we need a reason to torture people, so let's just torture some people for the sake of the plot. That's how it feels at some points, but it's not all throughout the film. It's just a one scene where it's like, hey, we got to give an excuse to pour blood on these people. We got to find an excuse to torture them. We got to find an excuse to kill someone, It just feels like an excuse to do something that, it feels like they're only doing it for the sake of doing it because they want to. And like I said, some of the acting at parts can be a little off. Some of the characters feel like, or the actors feel like they're not giving it their all in some performances. I thought the main cannibal was good, but there were some scenes where I'm like, why are you saying a line like that, buddy? It doesn't really sound that good. And because the movie is low budget, there are some scenes where I could tell that the snow falling was fake, because the characters are literally walking through this blizzard, right? Or the snowstorm, and they're literally dry. And the snow is just kind of like an overlay over them. So I could tell, but it wasn't terrible. I've done worse, believe me. And I think my main complaint with the movie is because I've seen so many torture or just horror movies in general that I can tell when a movie's going to end a certain way. And by God, this ending was so predictable. I'm going to spoil it. But in case you don't want to watch it, I don't know, just skip 30 seconds ahead. The main characters die. I knew that going in because I just had this feeling that they were going to die. I hate when movies do that, especially when you want a character to live. Here's the problem I have with this film mainly. You have these terrible characters that are torturing these characters that we somewhat like. And we want to see justice done. We want to see, the good win. But they don't. They just die. And it's like, okay. And I'm just gonna be honest, like the twist was cool, but at the same time, it felt like, um. So yeah, I'm not a big fan that movies end that way. Nor am I a fan of how this movie ended, because it's like, man, you went through all that effort just to be messed up, screwed, dead. Oh, and there was a lot of nudity in this film. Just wanted to get that out of the way. But with all that being said, this isn't a film I'm gonna rewatch. I'm just letting you know, but it'll be cool to have in my collection. God forgive me. But if you like torture films, if you enjoy suspense films, if you enjoy movies that take place in the snow, such as myself, I'm a big Christmas fan. It's the one and only Jesus' birthday. I know, what a way to celebrate it. You'll probably like this film. There are problems with it, but you know, it's a fine enough watch if you can handle it. That's all I'm saying. If you can handle this type of stuff, then you'll enjoy it. It's a film for horror fans and horror fans only. Definitely not for anyone who's a fan of comedies or romance films. So, but I would give it a B minus. It's a good film with flaws, but it just really depends if you can stomach all the stuff that goes on in it. Like Saw, some people just don't like that series. I personally like it for the whole investigation story and the whole escape room-esque feel of it. But I get it, totally get it. Anyways, guys, tomorrow we're gonna review something special that involves this guy. So, I'll see ya.